How's it going? I'm Lox, and today I'm going to be showing you how to export your game using Range Armor. The version of Range I'm going to be using is version 1.6, as it is the most recent version that's available at this moment. In order to get started, I would suggest saving your project into a separate folder, and then going into that folder, and let's add a new folder. This new folder we're just going to call Export. After making that file, let's go back into Range Engine, go to File, and then Export Game with Range Armor. This will bring up the Range Armor panel where we can make a new project. After clicking New Project, let's go to the location of our export file. Right here, I have it saved in my Tiny World folder, and we can see Export. Let's select Export, and for the file name, let's call it the name of the game, so Tiny World. That will create a new project for us to work in, but you can see that our run game and export to are grayed out. Before we can actually export our game, we're going to have to set up our file paths. So in order to do that, let's go to paths. You can see that all these options are red, and in order to add them, we're going to have to copy the DLL files and the range game player, along with a couple extra files. If we select explore, this will bring up the files that were created when we created our project. What we want to do is go over to Engine, and for me, I'm going to be selecting Windows 64, since that's my operating system. In Windows 64, let's open that file and we can see that it's completely empty. In order to populate this file, let's open up a new file in our File Explorer. Now let's navigate to where we have our Range Engine files saved. In my mess of files, Range 1.6 right here is my latest version I'm using. Go to Release, and here's all the files we're going to need to copy. No, you don't have to copy all these files. We're just going to be getting the DLL files, the Range Engine runtime, and the Blender CRT and 2.7 file. So starting from the bottom, let's just shift click the first set of DLL files, and then going up, I'm going to find the next set, so DLL, Control, and then click those files, and go through, and anything with DLL, just select it. Like that. Now we also want to grab our runtime, so we'll select that as well. Make sure that we got all the DLL files down here, not missing any, because if you don't have all of them, you will crash. So let's go up, select the Blender CRT and Blender 2.79. We're going to press Ctrl C, then we're going to go over to our Windows 64 folder, and we're going to press Ctrl V. Just paste all that in there. This will be a lot of files, so it might take a second to complete. Now that we have all the necessary files copied over to our Windows 64 folder, let's click on Blender 2.79 and the scripts folder. Let's just shift delete that because we will no longer need the scripts folder for our needs. Now we can go out and close that file. If we go back to Range Armor, we can see that our paths have gone from red to gray. This means that we actually have a valid file extension that our game will be able to use. Moving over, we're going to select Project, and this is where we can give the name of our game, and we'll just call this Tiny World again. This is pretty helpful. If you have a new version of your game, you can just switch out your project file and give it a new version, and it'll make a new file for you. For this example, we're just going to leave it on 1.0.0, and we have some Python scripts, but you don't necessarily have to select this. Now we can go over to Tasks, and this is where we can actually run our game. But if you click Run, you'll probably notice that it'll fail. What we have to do is we have to go back to Project, and you'll see that our actual main resource file is an example game resource. So what we're going to have to do is go back to Explore, and we're going to find this in the data file. If we click on data, we can see our example game, and what we want to do is just delete that file. What we want to do next is go back to our game in Range Engine, and we're going to go File, and we're going to go Save.Range Protected File. Let's go to our Export, Tiny World, and in the data file, we're just going to save this resource file. So now that we have our file saved, let's go back to Range Armor, and go to Project, replace the example file with our new Tiny World file, and that should be all there is. If we go over and we press Windows 64-bit, we should be able to play our game. There we go. Now this is just a good way to test and make sure everything is working. You'll probably notice that my resolution is set pretty low. All you have to do to fix the resolution is go to the Render tab, and under Standalone Player, select Resolution and set it to what you want. After that, you can go to File, just save your protected file once again, we'll go into Export, Tiny World, Data, and we're going to save over that protected file. Back in Range Armor, let's go to Project, and just make sure to reselect that, just so it's updated. Now if we go to our game and we press Windows, let's open it up, and we have the full resolution now. You can also set full screen, or you can set your resolution using Python. Now let's export our game. All we have to do is select the Windows 64-bit. If you have a 32-bit machine or a Linux running machine, then you can also select those. For now, I'm just going to select Windows 64-bit, and we're going to wait. This can take a little while. During the waiting process, try not to touch anything or click anything because it has a habit of crashing. Alright, after it's done exporting the game, we just click OK. And if we go back to Explore, we can see our files, but now we have a release file. If we click on release, you can see Tiny World version 1.0.0, and it's for the Windows 64 operating system. If we click on that, we can see our Tiny World exe. Now if I click on that exe, it will run my game. Just like that. Woo! So now we have a working game. This is great, but most platforms you're going to be uploading your game to will most likely require it to be in a .zip file. So if we go back to Range Armor, let's go over to Project and make our new version, so 1.01, and we're going to go back to Task, and instead we're going to compress targets after export. After that, let's just export again, let it wait, and after it's done, hit OK, and let's go back into our release file. We can see that we now have a project, Tiny World 1.01, but we also have the zip folder. One final thing, let's set a custom icon for our game. To do so, let's go to Explore, and then from Explore, we'll click on Icons. We can see that we have our range icons right here, and in order to swap them out, you'll need to make a .ico file. I made mine in Krita. Then I exported it as an ICO file. I have mine saved right outside the export file, and you can see I already have them named. For your files, just copy the names of the icon files in the icon folder. Then select your new icons, Ctrl-C, go to your icons file, and Ctrl-V. Then just replace the destinations. After that, you can navigate back to the range panel and set icons. Let it run, and after it's finished, press OK. And we can play our game. When we play our game and we look in the top left corner, we can see our new icon. Then when we export our game, then when it finishes, press OK. And if we navigate to our release folder, then we'll go to where our new game is exported to. We can see a new icon for our game's exe. And with that, you know how to export your game with Range. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, think about giving it a like. If you want to see some more of my content, check one of these boxes. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.